Don't Give Up Your Day Job, a local musician's guide. By me, Paul Gillings. An educational and sometimes humorous look at what it's like to be part of the local music scene. Now in conjunction with Indie Kid Records. Hello and welcome to another edition of Don't Give Up Your Day Job, the local musician's guides, and talking about the local music scene, what it's like, getting under its skin, being a part of it. And I'm very lucky today to be joined by a local engineer, producer, and all-round excellent sound guy, Mr. Sam Wilson. Hello, Sam.
Hi, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Thanks for coming in on this lovely sunny day.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, it's good to not be outside and sit indoors while the sun bakes through the window.
Where else would you want to be?
I've got to keep this pasty complexion somehow, haven't I?
I'm doing a great job, don't worry. Taking one for the team.
And also coming back for more punishment is Mr. Ryan Redwood. Hello, Ryan.
Hello, how are you? All right?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for coming back.
No worries, mate.
And for all finishing work and making the traipse over here. I haven't been to work today. I just thought I'd lay that on you boys before we went.
Nice one, thank you.
So, yeah, I'd like to talk to Sam first of all, then, if that's all right, fella.
Of course, mate, yeah.
Yeah, so you are, well, how I know you is through Ryan here, and you, would I be correct in, engineer, record, produce his music?
Yeah, for the last, 3 or 4 tracks?
Yeah.
The next 15,
next,
20?
Next 4,228.
Yeah.
Now you've got hold of him, Ryan, you ain't letting him go, is that right,
That's
mate?
right.
That is how it is,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's milking me for money, really, isn't it?
I've heard the production.
No comment.
I think it's a fair price. I don't know what the price is, but I'm sure it's enough. Oh, I see. It's like that. Okay, well that's good. So, mate, engineering.
Yes.
Well, you look like a very young man to me, and it's usually an old man's game. So, what got you into it?
I started playing drums when I was like 8, so this is like the whole where music kind of come from.
Good,
I wanted to be
cool.
like Travis Barker from Blink, hence the tattoo.
I have no idea they are because I'm old.
Yeah, that's fine. Like a pop punk band from 2000 sort of era. And at first I was like, I love the drumming. I still do, to be fair. But as I got older, it was like the albums just sound good.
Okay.
And like it took me maybe a few years to clock on. It was like maybe you like production more than playing instruments. Don't get me wrong. I still love playing drums.
Sure.
It's near 17 years now.
So did you find yourself more critiquing, easy for me to say, I've got my false teeth in, how the album sounded, how the drums sounded, rather than what they were actually playing?
Yeah,
Is that what
definitely.
you're saying?
Like, I can definitely relate as far as like being a drummer. Like as any musician, you can be like, that sounds cool, and you can kind of get an idea for what someone's playing. But I really found myself picking apart at every song, especially once I went to uni and started learning how to do it. I'd done it at sixth form in town.
Oh, did you? So you went to Lowestoft College?
Yeah, at Lowestoft sixth form, literally one over the road. I'd done music tech and film there, but film I just kind of shoved under the carpet and forgot about.
Well, they used to run when I was at sixth form. They used to run because I did A-level music, and they did our technology part of that in the Seagull Theatre.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably you boys don't even know, but they had a recording studio up there.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, they had a whole recording studio, sound booths, rack-mounted gear out the wazoo, and a half-inch tape reel in there as well.
Oh, yeah. So we're going back a bit.
You really are. So, and I recorded a folk album in there in 1996, 97, the little folk outfit I was in. So I guess you would have been there. So do they have that now at Lowestoft College, do they?
It's been 7-8 years since I've been to college, mate.
Oh, so when you went to college...
No, they had their own little studio live room. They had, I think, 3 practice rooms in there?
Yeah, 3 like practice rooms. They're all like wired in so you could go through the desk as well, weren't
really?
They? Yeah.
Because they had no sound production, nothing like that at that college whatsoever.
Yeah, I started when I think they were like just finished building it or like revamped it or whatever it was. Because I remember seeing it. It's when they were doing regular college, and you saw all the brown tiles on the side of the building or whatever it was, and they changed colour in the sun.
Okay.
So it was a few years back when they had all the construction up, and it looked spick and span at the time. God knows what it looks like now. Hopefully still the same.
I went the year after you, didn't I? That's when I went there,
Okay, cool. So, so after hearing those albums and thinking... I think I'm more interested in that than the drums. Obviously, kept the passion for the drums because you still play, don't you?
Yeah. I couldn't not play. I'd probably drive myself insane. I dabble in playing guitar, and I say bass, but that's because I taught myself guitar from YouTube, and it's 2 less strings.
I wouldn't only have to play one at a time as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't offer to be a bass player in someone's band unless they like root notes. But
do you play for Ryan? Do you play, or does he play his own?
I offer parts.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll get him to do it. It's his track.
Okay.
But like, I will sit there and be like, oh, try this, that, the other. Yeah, it's not as much as I want to contribute to it. It's not my song. I don't want to sit there and be like, all right, it's my guitar now. 7, 8 tracks, and it ends up being me and him singing on the top.
Yeah.
He actually did all the guitar tracks, actually. So
It's not quite. This is what we were talking about a little before we started recording, was the difference between audio engineering and being an engineer and being an actual producer.
Yeah.
Sort of being involved in the creation of the song, advising on different, sonic places, sounds, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is you getting more involved in that side of it as well as the engineering, would you say?
Yeah, and like the way I see it is I love every aspect of it, and I feel almost a little selfish just to be like, I'm doing this and this only. Whereas like, as I was speaking to you earlier before we started recording, it's like I pick and choose my work based on, do I enjoy working with the people, do I enjoy the track they're going to send me? And I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, this song's shit.
Well, this is one of the beauties of us being, I'm not even semi-professional, but sort of amateur musicians. As in, it's not our day job. Not amateur because we're not any good, but amateur because
it's
the difference between it's not paying all the bills. Yeah, it's being able to have the choice. Isn't it? So we've got day jobs. So if we don't like someone we work with, if we don't want to do it, we can just go, I don't have to do this. Because I get spoken to like shit at work all day, so I don't have to stand it. in the studio. So that's then led you on to like create your own space, because we were talking about because you have your own studio, your own lockup, which started off as a lockup. So tell us about that. What got you into doing that? Space to play the drums originally?
Yeah, exactly that. So I live in like a cul-de-sac full of elderly people, and when I first started playing drums, there was zero chance of me having any drum kit in the house.
Because old people don't get as deaf as you'd like to think or hope that they do.
You'd hope they'd be a lot worse.
You think, why don't you guys just get deaf, so then you won't hear me playing this? But they just don't.
Just go around turning the hearing aids on.
Yeah, I tried to open the windows, play a little bit louder here and there.
I created a battery shortage by going around the garages and buying up all the little tiny round batteries. So God damn it, they got them from somewhere. They're rechargeable now. Overnight, they can hear you again. So you didn't want to annoy the neighbours. It's very, very neighbourly of you. And very community conscious. I like that in a young man.
From there, it was, I just want the space. Like before that, it was always work out my bedroom on my laptop.
Yeah,
and parents would go to bed at 9 o'clock at night or whatever. That is cut off for music. And as a musician, 9 o'clock's probably where you start to get creative. So there'd be hours you sit there 1 a.m. just like playing guitar as quietly as I can. Just like, am I going to wake someone up? Am I going to be all right?
That mime isn't playing guitar, and that's probably what we'd be doing at that time of night.
Yeah, just tinkling. But after that, it got to the point I went to uni, come back, and I was like, before I went, there was a music scene. How much of one, I'm not too familiar anymore, but I come back and it's just deteriorated. It's like, I don't want to.
So how many years ago are we talking about that you came back from uni?
This is my second year back now.
Oh wow, so fairly recent, reasonably recent. Okay.
Yeah, and I was there for 3 years, so we're talking 5 years ago when it was like I considered something to be like there was things going on regularly that weren't just cover bands in pubs. Like no disrespect to them.
Sure. No, total respect to them. It's not as easy as you'd like to think, especially getting the work. I mean, I've had Lee Chapman from the Invisible Band and Austin Beats in, and the standard and stuff that he has to do with paperwork, invoicing, quotes. Which was a surprise to me, but when you think about it, it's obvious. He was doing quotes all the time for these people, and then health and safety, and then contract.
Play the songs.
That's the thing,
So, well, what does? I mean, this is my own personal curiosity going out, because I was originally booked on to go to the Salford engineering course, in Manchester, when I was 18, which was in 19... And so 19 is the start of it, that's how long ago it was. But I turned it down because my music career was going somewhere at that point, I did that. But what, for you, what does a university music engineering course look like? What do you do? What are you involved with?
It's a lot of studio time. It's a lot of... To me, it was a lot of go home, figure it out for yourself. I'm not saying that the uni was bad, but it's like my uni schedule was less than school, it was less than college. I had 3 or 4 lessons a week.
Oh, really?
So it was down to, they was like, okay, you know how to do this, you know why you're here, prove it.
Oh, seriously? So it wouldn't be like, here's an assignment, go away and record this
they
thing,
would give you like
that.
a brief, essentially. Let's say my dissertation was to produce like a portfolio with like half an hour music and it's like 15,000 words or something like that.
Wow.
And that's just basically describing what I'd done through the process, and you get X amount of studio time to book for the year to get your course, like your job done. I lost my trail of thought.
Projects, university,
for the brief,
being left to your own devices pretty much by
Yeah,
the sound
so
of it.
a lot of it was like, here's what you got to do. If you need help, let us know.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, off you go.
Wow.
So it was very much down to you to put the hours in, and it would show if you didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
thankfully, I feel like I've always been very passionate about trying to get it done anyway.
It sounded to me like you were going to do it anyway, and the piece of paper was pretty much a formality. It sounds to me like the passion for
there
it.
were definitely a few times where I may have enjoyed a drink too many instead of...
Well, you know what? My brother and my sister went to university, and I visited both while they were at university, and I have to say that the prices of the drinks, it's rude not to.
I'm glad I got a student loan.
Yeah.
I remember it was 1994, 95. My brother was studying chemistry at the UEA, and I went in there, and I was used to living in a flat in Yum, but I went along and hung out with him. We used to go see a lot of bands at the UEA. He got cheap tickets and stuff, and he was like, I'll go to the toilet. You order the drink. So I said, I took 2 pints of John Smith's, and she went £2.50. I went. No, I'm buying both. She said, yeah, that's £2.50. And I was like, even then, I mean, 1994 weren't that price-wise wasn't that long ago, but
Take
even
the
then I was
with me,
like,
right?
so I ordered another two and went, we're getting pissed.
At that price, Brighton was...
Hells, yeah.
You're looking at about £6-7 a pint in Brighton.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, we have a harmonica festival down there every year, and it's be going on again in February. And it always costs me a fortune. Thankfully, I get paid for the harmonica tuition stuff.
Yeah.
But it does look like a London by the Sea price.
It very much is.
Place to live. Yeah. Cool. So coming back from uni, then sorry to trawl you through your life story, but I find it fascinating, mate, that you'd come from
therapy
how you get there, just how you arrive at these things. Is brilliant, because it fires the imagination of people and young people, and being a father as well as how do I then fire that imagination, and hopefully people listening to this will get a spark from it as well.
Inspiration comes from somewhere. I've always looked up to people and was like, I want to do this exactly like this, if not better.
What engineers do you admire then? Who do you like to listen to?
There's a guy called Will Yip who works out at Studio 4 in Philadelphia in America, and he does any record he puts out, I will listen to back to front.
Who does he produce?
My favourite band, Citizen. These are going to be very underground.
I'm sure I wouldn't have heard of him, but listeners might.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Citizen,
I'm not the only person in the world.
Balance and Composure, Title Fight, Webbed Wing, Super Heaven. It's like the modern day. I don't want to say Nirvana. It's very grungy, alternative sort of music.
Okay, so that's a bit Butch Vig, John Leckie kind of stuff.
Butch Vig is probably like a common name that people might recognise.
So that's more like that kind of thing. They're names that I recognise. I just only named the two I know, to be honest.
Butch Vig is definitely a count. Aside from that, Andrew Sheps, who done Chili Peppers stuff.
Okay, yeah.
If I'm honest, anyone who can show me what they're doing, obviously they ain't got, probably haven't got the time to break down a 12-hour session over the course of 4 weeks or whatever, but if they have clips online where I can be seeing what they're doing and just kind of internalise what they're doing.
How would you describe your production sound then? Because obviously, I mean, back many years ago, producers, you could tell a producer a mile off, and Butch Vig and John Leckie, we can tell them because their angular guitars, the big spaces for the drums and stuff like that. And then you had guys from the 60s and 70s, you had your the Beatles producer's name. I can't believe it. People, that's blasphemy.
Don't put me on the
George
spot.
Martin, blasphemy, not remembering.
Thank you.
But obviously he has his style and stuff like that. And so what would you describe your style as then? Or do you think you've got one? Or is it still in development?
I think it'll always be in development.
Good.
I like to see myself as transparent.
Okay.
In the sense that I'm here to suit someone else's needs. It's not my project. As much as I see it as I'm in a band, someone's band for 2-3 weeks at a time. And that's probably my favourite part about it.
So it's getting the best out of them.
Yeah.
And to the best sound that they can be.
If me and Ryan were to work together, it's never, I want to do this. It's, we can try this, and we'll exhaust every option just to say, we know it doesn't work. Right. It's not that it might not work.
You don't want to believe me, son? It sounds like shit now.
Because at the end of the day, I'd rather someone come up to me and be like, no, we ain't doing this.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm charging for it. I'd love to do it for free if I could, but I would be working ridiculous hours and probably have no time to go to the studio.
Sure, and there also needs to be a certain, there's a sort of pride in your work.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if you want to produce something quality, there's a sort of, he does more acoustic albums. David Booth's name is, lovely bloke, works out of Woodbridge Way, and he was like, I went there and played a harmonica part for him, and I kept fluffing it. He went, "You're going to get it right because I don't have shit come out of my studio."
Yeah. And I like to think I'm like that. I wouldn't want to stamp my name on something I'm not proud of.
For sure. No, that's good. It's good to have pride in what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't want to sit there and finish it and be like, I'm not showing anyone this. I've got enough of my own songs on my laptop that no one's ever seen and will probably never see for that reason.
Please, like they say, walking out the door and you're taking the cash. Please don't credit me on the album.
I wasn't here. That's fine.
You weren't here.
That's
no
what I
one
meant
saw
by
you.
transparent.
So, having come back from uni with that, and just picking up the thread of your life story, if I may.
No, of course.
It fascinates me, honestly, man. I'm quite new to any sort of music production, so it's been a steep learning curve.
It's a big rabbit hole to get into.
Oh God, the dark art of mastering is one I don't think I even want to go near. So I hand that over to my good friend Raoul Crane over at Play Studios. You know of Raoul?
Been there a few
Raoul?
times.
Have you, man?
Yeah,
awesome.
It's a lovely little place.
Have you seen his new studio he's building?
I've seen pictures. Yeah, it'll be exciting.
Yeah, half sunk into the ground as well, so it'll be acoustically lush. Yeah. So then that led you on to not being able to make any noise in your bedroom at your home. So you hired a studio. Play drums in originally.
It was essentially all to play drums. But coming back from uni, it was kind of like I still got that buzz to be like, I want to record something. And the whole production thing was like, I want to record my own songs before I even think about anyone else's.
Yeah.
And over time, it just kind of gravitated into, can you help me do this? Can you help me do this? And I was like, well, I can only do so much for free, can't I? And now I'm essentially paying for a space to use. It's like I will just be breaking my wallet if I just go, come down whenever.
I was going to ask how is that funded, but it's funded by obviously out of your own pocket, and from whoever you get to record in there as well. It's basically sustaining the place that they are using, isn't it?
Yeah, if I can keep enough income in to provide that space, I can essentially afford to do things for a bit cheaper, because I don't mind taking no money for myself. It means the way I see it is I take a deposit, like 25% up front or whatever it is, depending on how much people are paying. And then that means if I have money up front and we need something for a project, we can just run out and buy it before the next session and have another toy to play with, essentially. Yeah,
because I find the studio gear grows. I started off with a 2008 Apple Mac. I was plugging my microphones in an SM58 because that's what I had, so I didn't even have condenser mics or anything. That's a ribbon on there, so I didn't have any of that. I borrowed that from a friend of mine, Mr. Pete Starkforth. It's a beautiful thing. It's so warm. Ryan's voice when he starts talking, it's going to sound so warm.
I'm not going to talk now. Silent.
I do not want the warmth. Sod your warmth, you cold-voiced bastards. So I started off like plugging a PA into the back of my computer, but it was an old PV, like one of them 650 watt. And the hiss was
the graphic equalizer.
The hiss was horrendous. And then I discovered like USB Scarlett interface, so I bought that little one up there.
Still got a 202 in my bedroom.
Have you?
Yeah.
You see, that was the mainstay of my studio up until I bought the Behringer. I mean, it's got 4 inputs, but I mean, this is where my knowledge and my budget, because I'm only paying for these myself and
Everyone's
stuff like that.
Everyone's budget is probably far too low for what they're charging to buy these things brand new nowadays, especially if you're looking at things like what they consider vintage, which is going back like 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
They're charging out the ass for.
Really?
Like one compressor, like a hardware unit, you're looking at $2,000.
Wow.
Second hand.
So what kind of stuff do you have in your studio, and what would you advise anyone starting one to start off with?
Bottom line is you need a computer nowadays, and unless you want to drive yourself to hell trying to do it on tape. Like I've never had the unfortunate time of doing that, and I would never ever want to.
See, now I obviously be at the age I am. I mean, like guys my age, you're like, I like it old school. I like the tape, and I tell you what, no thanks.
No,
I totally agree with you. Having come from that age as well, it's like, why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, I opened up GarageBand and I could just keep adding tracks and adding tracks and adding
and if
tracks.
If you don't like something, Control Z, Command Z, gone.
I had to play the guitar part one for one verse and one chorus, and I copied and pasted it, and I was like, what the hell is going on there? This is amazing.
I've seen enough people work on tape that it's not for me. And the thing is, with like plugins and all the bits you can get nowadays, like if you learn the instruments you got in front of you, it's going to be doable anyway.
So do you go more for plugins, or do you have any like hardware, like rack equipment and stuff like that?
I've got a few compressors and stuff. I run through like a Allen Heath. It's essentially a live desk. It's a 32 channel desk. And
Okay.
the main reason I picked that up is because it's got 32 EQs on the way in.
Right.
And it saves my computer blowing up when I've got 32 tracks, EQs, compressors, and all sorts.
Okay.
But yeah, bottom line, computer.
Okay. What are you running at the moment? Because I'm an Apple man.
Apple, yeah.
So I've got one of the new M1s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't been on holiday for 3 years, so
I see why, yeah. Yeah, I'm on a 2010 Mac Pro, I think. You know the old cheese grater towers?
Yeah, fucking workhorse.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolute workhorse. Is that was it a G4 or a G5?
Yeah, I think it's
before
a G5.
Before they went to,
yeah, it's not one of the screens all-in-one thing.
Okay.
Just because upgradability. I can keep that forever and just use it as a housing until whatever I want.
That 2008 one I was talking about was an absolute workhorse. It's only because I bought the M1 that's gone on to a friend of mine, Chris Garrett, who's put that in his little studio and he's recording on it and starting all over again.
I reckon it'll be with me for a long time.
Yeah.
And the benefit of having like a couple of compressors, and I've got a Kemper, if you're aware. Like
I've heard of Kemper. I think Raoul uses those. I think that's the only reason I've heard of them.
3 or 4 of them.
He's got 4 of them.
Yeah.
He's got loads.
We'll all have to go over. I've been invited when he's finished his studio. We'll have to go over, have a jam, have a nose round his gear.
Pick his brain about some of it. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. As far as equipment goes, though, I'd say, like as I've already mentioned, computer is bottom line.
Yeah.
You can find anything you want to know about recording online now. I spent countless hours at university just YouTubing how to do this, how to do this, and there's always someone. It's so oversaturated.
Right. You see, now I found this because I've been getting into learning the guitar again, and I think I'm going to plumb for one-to-one lessons because there's just too much of it.
Too much to
There's
get
it's an absolute barrage.
And as someone who comes from like the beginning, you don't know what to believe. Is like, what is right and who's just talking shit to get a few quid out of you.
Yeah, right. So what software are you running for that?
I learned everything for the course of uni, so I'm doing Pro Tools, Ableton, Logic, Machine, anything else I can get my hand on. It's just learning shortcuts.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Blimey. Wow. So which particular program are you using for recording Mr. Redwood stuff?
Pro Tools is most like tracking based stuff, just because I love the audio editing capabilities of it. The whole take lanes in tracks and stuff.
So when you say tracking,
recording more than one instrument at a time,
okay.
or like more than one microphone at a time.
I see. Okay.
It's just a bit more convenient. MIDI would be Ableton, just because they built that for live and DJs, and you can do incredible things with that, like control lights. But that's way beyond me. I just want to record people playing instruments.
So as far as your interface, so you've got your desk, you've got your split multi-channel desk.
Yeah.
So then you've got your computer. What do you use in between that to get the separation of the channels to get that into the computer?
Right, so we go
what
from the Allen Heath into 2 Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40s.
Oh, I see. So you've got them daisy chained.
Yeah, they're just linked via Firewire cable. Actually, before that, I think they go into a patch bay just for. I can't be bothered to run around the back of a computer every time I want to change something.
It looked like one of those old telephone exchanges from the 1940s, wouldn't it?
The back of the desk. The back of the desk is a horrible sight at the minute. It gives me stress every time I walk through.
I just can't stand like wires anyway, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But Bluetooth is just laggy as fuck, isn't it? I've had someone in there said, "Haven't you got Bluetooth headphones?" No, there'd be absolutely no point.
I will run a 100-meter aux lead before I do Bluetooth.
Forget Bluetooth. Yeah. It's just laggy as shit.
I just can't be doing it.
No, it's just a wind up, isn't it?
But yeah, 2 Pro 40s and then straight into the computer, which is, 16 channels does me. Like, the most I'm recording is drums, and that's, if I want to get fancy and I've got time to spare, it will be all 16 inputs.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's just, like, I like to toy about, and as I said earlier, exhaust every option, and at least know for certain that it isn't going to work, and I can just delete it.
Okay.
And instead of, like, tape, you're like, right, cut that out in the bin. I can just go delete.
And tape's expensive, right? Hard drive space is.
Tape machines are expensive as well.
Yeah, right. No shit.
And you've got to service them, upkeep, all this.
What do you think it is that people are hankering for when they try it? When they're liking it old school? Are they after it? Is it just nostalgia? Is there a certain warmth to it? Is there a difference?
Like Foo Fighters still use it now, don't they?
I
Dave
reckon...
Grohl uses it all the time. He
swears
a lot
of guys will
I don't know what they say. It's the sound, but to me, put one of their records next to someone like you produce, I'd be like, well, I don't really know. Where is the sound difference? You know
if you grew up around it, and like that's what you were taught,
you kind of
that's like your roots, isn't it? It's like
Okay,
you feel
yeah.
comfortable around this, and then someone goes, "Nah, we're going to do this now."
I mean, there was. I mean, even in my industry as a graphic designer, I turned up just when computers had started actually doing the designing on. Before
Yeah.
they were used as printout to do paste up and stuff like that
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
letter set, and then we started Photoshop and designing things, and there was 3 guys they made redundant the same year.
Yeah.
Because they were just not going to get it. They were doing letter set. They were hard. They were copy type. Not allowed to call them typists. They were keying stuff. Not allowed to call them typists. That was it was horrendous. So yeah, no. As far as they were concerned, in their ancient sexist way, women type, men key.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
Yeah, oh my god! Yeah, exactly. Women type, men key. All right, fella.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
for God's
mate.
sake.
No
But anyway,
worries.
they made them buggers redundant.
Yeah, off you go.
Quite surprised, eh?
Yeah, what a shock.
what a shock.
So yeah, so they weren't going to get with it.
Yeah, yeah.
And in music production as well, I could have said, well, last time I was using anything to record home demos and stuff like that was a Fostex 4-track.
Yeah.
They were 250 quid, and I could bounce down and bounce down and bounce down. Oh yeah, I'll get one of those. Or even I could get the modern day equivalent of a digital 4-track.
Yeah.
But then I opened up GarageBand and thought, why the fuck would I?
What's the point? You've got it in front of you. Yeah.
It's good to have my own beliefs affirmed by an actual engineer. So thank you for that. I knew I was right. I'll go and tell the wife. I told you I was bloody right about something.
It's a strong term, actual engineer, but I'll take it.
Well, as a wise man who's been in here before, Mr. Paul Johnson said, you're real if you think you're real. And you are producing stuff that is being, distributed.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have a university degree in it as well, for God's sake.
Yeah,
What more qualification?
Expensive bit of paper.
Do you?
Very expensive bit of paper.
But like I said, it sounds to me like it was something you were going to do. You were going to do anyway. Right?
Yeah, I would have either wasted time. I say wasted time. I would have sat at home doing the same thing anyway. But university gave me the option to be first-hand experience
Right.
in. I say Class A, where they've spent millions upon millions on a really nice place to be, whereas it could be me sitting at home with a 2i2 on my laptop going, I wish I had all this to play with. But I've gone to learn, if I ever had to travel further afield to somewhere rather nice, and there was we're going to put you here, learn. I can't just turn up give me a sec, and I'm going to have to look up how to turn this on, how to use this. It's now I'm fortunate enough I could sit there and probably figure my way out, and if I couldn't, it'd be it's fine, don't worry about it. And
So it's going to work for a major studio, anything that you would aspire to or like to do or thought about?
options always open.
Yeah, especially your qualification, yeah.
I think the way it's going is I'd like to be an in-house somewhere. But for the minute, I will wait. Especially while I got my own place, just learn as much as I can. I'm really passionate just about learning. I don't ever feel like I'm the best at it.
Good way to be, mate. Excellent. No, it's making me smile just to hear that. Well, it's fantastic to have some passion from young people and their music and what it is they're doing. It really is. It's lovely to see. So the studio, to get back to that. Not a drum studio anymore. There's a window. I heard about a window.
Yeah,
there is a window.
Ryan?
Guys,
Is there a
there's a window.
So just to fill anyone who might be listening to this in, Sam and Ryan here, and Ryan hasn't said very much, but we will get him to open up in a minute. No worries.
If we have to.
Fine, I'll just go.
I listen to you enough day in, day out.
So they made a little documentary, didn't you? And it's on YouTube, on Ryan's YouTube channel, about the new single.
Yeah.
Which is called
Late,
yeah, and there's a lengthy discussion in there about a window that you've put in, and we were talking earlier on, weren't we, before we were making coffee, about the difference between when it becomes a room that you're playing drums in a rehearsal space to being a studio, and it's because there's now a control room with a window
and
in it.
seats.
There's a wall and a window.
You haven't got a seat yet.
I sit on a drum stool still.
The budget ain't stretched that far yet. I'm comfy, but that's fine.
So there's now a
chair.
control room and a live room. Well, it's sounding like a studio to me, mate.
It's
really
good enough
is.
for now. It gets what I need to do done.
So are you going to be opening this for public consumption, or are you going to keep it to word of mouth, or what's the plans? Where do you see this going? You might not see it going anywhere. I just thought I'd ask.
5-year business plan, go.
5-year business plan.
It's not the fucking Apprentice. Sorry, mate, I'm putting you on the spot.
No,
What do you think you
5.
came here for? An easy time? I want to go around there, talk about
a laugh.
Brilliant. We'll talk about your music in a minute.
Yeah. I'd like to, but as I said to you earlier, I'm very fussy about the things I work on.
Yeah, so nice organic growth then.
I'll be the first person to tell you your music is shit.
You haven't played him anything of mine, have you, Ryan?
Not yet.
It's produced by Raoul. It must be amazing.
And it's not that necessarily the songs are shit, but it's like, if you can't open yourself to ideas,
Sure.
then what can I do for you?
Yeah. Does the production, does bad production put you off of a song? If you're listening to it and you think, oh God, that guitar sounds weak as piss.
Like, if it's already been released, sure. Like there has been times where I can't put myself through an album because it is emotional pain.
Yeah.
Someone's recorded that in a fucking shed or a church, and it sounds
Turn the
horrendous.
microwave on, you just hear the hum in the background. I can't do that.
Ding, ding,
My mate
ding.
said my mate Billy had a studio in London. Where the hell? What part was it? He said it was like underground, but near an underground station. So there was so many times, like once an hour or something like that, they couldn't record. They had to like quickly get in there because it'd be like a rumble.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't necessarily hear it in the track, but if you knew what you were
play it
listening
back,
for,
yeah.
That's like that film Yesterday. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And he's got that
The
studio
train
next to the
going
train
next
tracks, and they like have to time it. No, wait, the train's coming. Stop.
that's
Go.
that's actually probably stole that story from my mate Billy. Yeah. Awesome. So tell me a bit about your drum playing then, if I may. Have you a little band called Mojique?
Yeah,
that sounds jazzy. Is it jazzy?
It's all over the shop, if I'm honest. I can't pinpoint what we do. The song we put out a couple of weeks back it was put out on Valentine's Day, like a bit lovey-dovey, quite soft, a bit of sax on it, like a bit slow paced.
Sax, I say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our guy Dylan Levitt, incredible sax player.
Awesome.
Drums started, I was 8. My first lesson, I cried my eyes out because it was too loud.
Oh, really?
And here I am.
So why did you start? Why did you want to start with drums?
It's not loud enough.
I just wanted to be like the drummer of Blink-182. I was like, I will be like this. I will be like this, and just persevere.
No matter how much it makes me cry.
Yeah, after the first lesson, I was like, no, I'll do it. And then over time, I got my first drum kit. It was a crappy little Premiere or Mapex thing, second hand off Facebook or something like that. Probably cost not even £100, like falling apart.
Understanding parents though to get you that. How many parents would buy themselves a drum? I bought my boy a drum kit and he took it home to his mum's where he lives and she said no.
She's like, fuck off, somewhere else.
You leave that at your dad's, go on.
Yeah, and from there I took lessons at Cafe for nearly 6 or 7 years, started doing my grades.
Oh, what was that with Lloyd? Who was teaching over there?
I started off with Gareth Trice.
Okay.
And then he left, I can't remember, I think the second bloke's name was John, I don't remember his last name, but he was all into his like Megadeth, Slayer, metal stuff. And from someone who just wanted to play...
Double drum pedal?
Yeah, I still got one, yeah. I ain't touched that for a while though, put a bit of dust on it.
So if I can just... mate, thanks for sharing all of that, and I'm going to include Ryan a bit now. So, how do you two know each other, Ryan? How do you know this man? Was it
music, innit? Pretty much. We met through Azza.
Yeah,
right?
that was my first.
Mr. Lambert, I am
Mr.
trying
Lambert.
to hook him in. I can't get him to agree a date to come and speak to me as a.
Don't get a reply from him half the time. That's half
Well,
the
I have to go through Nathan.
Yeah, probably the best bet. Yeah, we probably met through Azza when you and him had that band Milestone,
Milestone,
right?
yeah, that's the first
We
band.
I've heard of Milestone.
Yeah,
I think we played a
bloody
gig.
ask you. Done your research then?
I have no.
Yeah.
I've just like there was a long time, early 2000s. I got married and my first boy was born, so I was off the scene really. The band I was in before that, Nexus, had split up in '99, so I was then off the scene for most of the noughties, to be quite honest. But you know, I'd keep seeing band names in the paper and going, "Oh, it shows up."
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm changing nappies. No, it's all good. Had to be done. So Milestone was the band that you knew for
because we done a gig together at the Dutchman's when I was in British Rejects, and that was No Story Goes were headlining, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Boys been around a while,
and then
haven't
I think it was us three. We were a covers band at the time, so we opened up. And then you guys played, and then No Story Goes played.
We started as like a Green Day cover band or something like that. It's a bit artsy.
We all started as cover bands.
Was that
really,
one? One of them ones where I think you and I spoke about this last time around, whereby you just slip the odd original in, see if anyone notices.
Yeah, we play a cover set, and towards the end you're like, one more note.
And then someone goes, "Who was that song by?" Third I didn't recognise that. Oh, it was one of ours. Actually. It's so good, you thought it was a professional one.
Exactly.
So you were doing that, sneaking in the originals.
Yeah, sneaking in the originals, and then I don't really know how we started talking properly. Really, that was just sort of organic. Really, I think we needed a drummer. It's when we went into originals as British Rejects. Our drummer went to university in Sheffield, so he left the band.
So you didn't know this man did music production at that time?
No,
I wasn't doing
you
music.
weren't.
You were. This is pre-uni,
This is
right?
pre-college
Okay,
as well, right?
Yeah, this is like high school.
This is like 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then when we needed a drummer, I think we must have put something out, and you said, I'm happy to play some drums, and we were like, okay, come
Drummers
down.
are right sluts for that, aren't they? They'll be in 10 bands. Any drummer I've had is in 5 fucking bands. It's like, all right, mate, commit with you.
Yeah,
What is with that as a drummer who's sat here? Why do you do that?
Entertainment. Watching everyone fight over me, and I feel like my head get bigger by the day.
Oh, fair. Excellent. No, good answer.
Yeah, and I think, because Milestone broke up a little bit before that, I think.
Yeah,
'cause you
there
weren't
was
in
a
there.
quiet patch between that.
And I remember me getting you in the band, and then Azza being like, can't believe you got him in the band. Oh my god. I was like, what do you mean? He's free. He's not in your band
Stole
anymore.
his drummer.
Mate.
You stole
his
Azza's
drummer.
drummer.
Apparently,
It's like nicking his birthday.
That was a whole thing. That was funny. And then we went on tour together.
Yeah.
In the Rejects. We went to Raoul. Put out a couple of singles, and went from there. Really, didn't it?
Yeah.
Friends ever since.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how did you sort of, when he came back from uni, then like, oh, you've got that little studio. How was that then? How did you strong arm into recording your stuff?
In
Because
lockdown.
he's very fussy, clearly, about who he records.
Yeah.
So who he works with. So how did he get him to work with you?
I bribed him.
Yeah.
In favours.
Okay.
We won't say much more than that.
My rent's paid.
Oh dear. No, it's during lockdown, and I was like sort of just demoing songs and that. This was at the time I didn't really know if I was doing music or not, like we spoke about before.
Yeah.
And I needed someone to just like make the tunes sound better than they did how I was doing them, and Sam was doing things at home, weren't you?
Yeah, I had enough free time over lockdown. I was like, I am bored of doing nothing every single day.
Right.
And
so you got furloughed and stuff, did you?
Well, my delivery driving carried on all throughout, but it's outside from that, I was just working.
Well, this is where I came to record my own stuff as well. My second album, because although I was working in the factory all throughout of an evening, couldn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
I was in here from 5 o'clock at night.
Twiddle your thumbs after a while.
Yeah,
There's
so
only so much recording you can do by yourself.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
So you're recording your own
recorded.
recording tech and recording. Knowledge wasn't what you'd like it to be.
Mine's
So
just
time to
I'm
call it the pro.
not really bothered about being like really good at recording my stuff, as long as I can get the demo done and then give it to Sam and be like, right, let's do something
It's a nice place
with
to be,
it.
mate. It really is.
Let's
Leave
do
that
it.
to the pros, which is why I get Raoul to do my mixing and mastering, because I can't do that bit myself.
Yeah.
I have tried. It's just like, I get to a point with it, and you twiddle with it, and you think, oh, that sounds great. That sounds nearly there, and then you look at the waveform where you listen to it compared to someone else, and the volume is in the tank.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, I get that
Something's cutting through, and it's like, oh, for God's sake!
It's just frustrating.
I'm just gonna export the streams and send it over there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give man 40 quid. I couldn't give a crap.
As long as I label correctly, it's fine.
Yeah. That was the one I remember.
Yeah,
I was just sending it to me. He's like, I don't know what's what, right?
I've had this from when I first went to Raoul. I was very cautious about how would you like the files presented.
Yeah.
So he was very concise. I know what his criteria is. When someone wants to send you some mixing and mastering, when this man wants to send you something for mixing and mastering, what is your criteria for having those streams, stems? What are we calling them?
Well, stems. Mm-hmm. So we'll start from like the inception of like working together. We're like, Ryan has a song. It's like, okay, I want to record this. I get him to send me a demo so I can decide, do I want to work on this? Am I going to waste my time if I say yes? No offense to yourself.
He's not said no yet, so it's alright. I must be doing something right.
But it's like, do I want to go through this and then give 110% to something at the end that I'm going to be like, yeah, it's alright.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do that.
Wow, that's great. That really having that standard, I think, is missing in a lot of general life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do it for money, and I think if you're doing music for money, good luck.
You're in the wrong business, mate.
So from there, like, let's say, okay, we'll do this song.
Yeah.
I will say, send me everything individually, drums, however you've got them recorded, literally as the project you've left it, send that, but instrument by instrument.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So all your guitars, like your rhythm guitars on one track, or if you've got 4, send me 4 tracks of rhythm, just label them. So I haven't got to read audio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Because what I do for Raoul is I mute the other tracks, say for example, and then export
Yeah.
lead vocal. I take the effects off of it. I take everything.
Yeah.
So it's the absolute raw file. I mean, when I do my guitar parts, I send him, or the harmonica part, I send him. It's been pre-processed, so it's got the distortion that I want, or the overdrive and stuff like that. But I have heard some engineers like a clean signal. It's a clean DI signal and what you would like it to sound like as well.
The way I see it with Ryan, I'm like, send me what you've got. I don't care if you've put a million effects on something.
Yeah,
like, this is how you want the song to go. I don't see why we should take a step back before we even start.
Okay, that's fair.
Because regardless, chances are we are going to record over everything you've sent me
everything
anyway.
anyway.
I see. So these are more like scratch tracks.
This is like a reference. This is a
see.
starting point, and we go, how can we make this bigger than it is? How can we make it better than it is, sort of thing.
Was that big education for you to do that, from
I mean,
recording demos and either having to go into a studio and having to let everybody do it? You're still having to do a bit there, aren't you?
Yeah, well, like, I've sort of used to it through college, really. We used to do that in college quite a lot. We used to like demo stuff or do scratch things and then have to re-record and make it pristine anyway. So it's quite, I don't know, sort of just second nature, really. I wasn't really that bothered. We're kind of like on the same wavelength with a lot of things because we're friends anyway.
Well, yeah, you've also known
it's
each other a long time.
We have,
That's a good thing, though, isn't it?
We have a good working relationship as well as a good friendship and stuff. Like we went on holiday last week. With all our mates, do you know what I mean? So yeah,
Brilliant.
for us, I think it's really easy, really. Like if he's got an idea, I'm always open to anything because. Sam, and I know him. Do you know what I mean?
How clinical do you like to get with the recordings? Because I've been, obviously, we were talking about watching YouTube channels and stuff like that, and with my limited recording knowledge, I've been watching a few on production and stuff, and there was one guy who says when you, like, for example, and just an example of, when you're recording a guitar solo or stuff like that, don't send me a track with where you've accidentally hit the other strings or the other strings are buzzing with the end harmonics. Tape them down. So he's like...
We've done that with Late.
Have you?
I say tape them. I mean, we used at the time, it was a face mask because it was the only thing available to us, just to mute a couple of strings.
Just to mute a couple of strings, so accept the strings you're playing so you don't get the other ones going over.
It's very dependent, because if you want something to sound a bit rough around the edges...
A bit dirty, yeah.
And I feel like if you... Let's say you recorded the whole track where everything was perfect.
Right.
How does that stand out from anyone else?
Well, no one's listening anyway.
I'd rather have a couple of, like, if singing the tiniest bit off pitch,
sure,
something's not completely in time, it makes it your song.
It's done by a real person, isn't it, I find? Because it's not wrong, is it?
No.
It's not like, that's fucking... That. You can tell something's a blunder, when something's, dissonant or discordant, you can go, oh, God, that was off-key.
Yeah.
And that's quite like, now that's a genuine mistake, you have fucked that up. But if it's a little bit, if it's a little bit off-colour, or if it's a little bit, beyond a beat or whatever. I mean, I watch a lot of Rick Beato.
Yeah.
Have you seen the guy?
Yeah,
the first person I've had in here who's watched him. Awesome. Yes. So where he'll analyse stuff and he'll take a BPM monitor to like older tracks and it'll vary.
Yeah.
Like he had a Led Zeppelin track that varied from 100 BPM to 120, 130. And it wasn't even a speed up in a song. It wasn't even a different section. And then it went back down again. And then he put on a Linkin Park track. And held up his BPM meter, and it sat at 110. Absolutely did not flinch.
Did not flinch.
Yeah, a lot of tracks like that.
Yeah.
Going back to Pro Tools, there's a thing you can do. Typically, I track drums first. Seeing as I'm a drummer, it's like, my favourite bit. Let's get it. Spend most of the time on this. Let's go. More often than not, the songs that I do, it is the backbone to near enough every song.
Yeah.
With Pro Tools, there's a thing you can do. You track your drums to, let's say, 110 BPM, for example. And if you are a machine, you'll be bang on every time, but it's not happened yet, even by my playing counts. You can tell Pro Tools to change the grid to whatever the drums are playing, or whatever you have recorded. Being like drums, having like your transients and initial points to be like, okay, this is the start, this is the end. Whereas a guitar looks like a sausage, is what I would call it.
It looks like a sausage. We like that. It's a sausage fest for us guitar players.
So you can tell Pro Tools to change the grid to adapt to whatever you've put in front of it. So it'll be like 110, 112, but like per bar basis. So you're never 110 bang on, and I feel like it's a lot more fluent in it sounds more human, as cheesy as it is to say.
It's the human element, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like, the computer ain't doing it. We don't like computers, but I mean, I wouldn't be doing my job without computers. So.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, my last album, the drums were all MIDI. The album before that, I bought a CD full of drum samples and then cut them together.
Nothing against it. Like, if it gets the job done.
Well, the laugh of it is, I mean, my music's in the blues genre, and you thought them guys would be pretty purist. There's a lot of blues radio stations playing it, and you'd think they'd be like, well, that's not a real drummer, but nobody knows because nobody cares because it practically, the original source for them was an actual drummer hitting something, I guess.
And as long as it sounds good, like I feel like the final context is what matters.
Absolutely,
it's not about how you got there. Like for me, like someone who enjoys that sort of stuff, it's partly about that, but that isn't the end result.
Yeah, I mean, you can get hung up, can't you? And you must. I don't know if you've ever got this on your songs, Ryan, because they're fairly. There's a full production when you're recording them, with drums and bass and stuff that. And at the moment, going out live, there's just you and your acoustic.
Me and the guitar. Yeah.
Have you had anybody? I mean, Danny and I haven't had this either, but I don't know why the question even occurs to me.
No, go on.
But do you have anybody say, "Well, that's not how you sound on the record"?
No, never had that.
People aren't. Maybe people aren't bothered anymore.
No, I think it's because at the moment with the sort. I guess it depends on the sort of gig. I reckon. Like, say if I was to play like the Waterfront main bar downstairs, I think it probably would be like, why isn't there a band behind him?
Right, if you're playing backing tracks or an iPad or something,
it'd be a bit like, where's the band?
What's he doing?
Yeah, what's he doing?
Sound check, open my laptop.
Just open the laptop, there we go, press play, see you later. I'm going to go backstage, drink with the cans, I'm off. Do you know what I mean?
Just playing, just stand there.
I saw a lad do that at Club Uniquity, play through an iPad, and I was a bit like, what, in Club Uniquity?
Yeah, that's the worst place to do that,
Really? What?
But I think, just like I said, it depends on, like, at the moment, like, even like when I go on tour and stuff, the gigs aren't massive places, so I think people respect the fact that it is me and the guitar, and it's like quite intimate, and it feels like they're involved a bit more. Do you know what I mean? Right. So I think sometimes when you're in a band, you play a small place, it's sort of like, they're the band. Do you know what I mean? They can't get involved and stuff. Like, I get more people talk to me halfway through my set and have banter with me.
With me during the song, like, I'm Brian, play, fuck off.
It's not quite that bad yet, unless it's a shit song. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. No one's questioned that yet, really.
No, that's good. That's good. That is good because it used to happen. Years ago, that people would say, "Oh, have you heard so and so's new album?" Yeah. I don't reckon on them live and stuff like that. But Danny and I mean, I don't play the songs on my albums live, but Danny and I play live, which is different songs. Yeah. But it's still me playing my instrument in front of people, so it's not like the album isn't fake.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Although
it doesn't exist because you haven't heard it live.
That's right. But I think maybe attitudes have changed especially with the technology and the way people are making music has changed because it's still a skill to use the computer, isn't it?
Bottom line charts are nowadays
mean nothing to us.
16-year-olds on laptops. A lot of the top 10 are just people who have. I mean, God forbid they probably cracked some of the software, but I'm not going to say anything about that on recording. But I'm sure we've all been there at some point.
Being a graphic designer, I can honestly say that I've never used cracked versions of Adobe
never.
programs.
I'm not even sure what they are entirely.
No,
it's disgusting. Kids, don't do it.
Yeah,
it's worse than it's called crack for a reason. It's bad.
The start of DVDs.
You wouldn't steal a song.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, you bloody would. We do all the time.
Every week, mate.
So, mate, talking about live shows and talking about something that's sort of fairly current for us at the moment is and relevant to this podcast as well, talking about a local music scene. So, in your because it's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah,
I think
to be part of the local scene.
Yeah,
you've tried to get us all together with a local Facebook with Lowestoft music scene, haven't you?
Yes, I have indeed. Yeah.
What on earth possessed you to do that?
The fact I had a bit of we come back from holiday last week, and I was Tuesday night. I was sort of just sitting there thinking, right, I'm back now. I'm gonna get into back in the studio at some point with Sam, and I was thinking, right. Okay, that's it then. There's no and I was looking through Facebook. I haven't missed anything apart from you. I was like, he's still busy.
He's still
Nathan's there doing like Optimist, and I was like, there's got to be more than that. And like as
me and Nathan, not enough for you.
I was like, especially always more.
I want more. How'd you put up with him?
And I think because I'm a solo artist now, singer songwriter and stuff. Not Sob Story, by the way, but it gets like not lonely, but you are sort of sat there in your room a lot of the time.
Isolation, I think is what it is, which is different to loneliness because we don't necessarily want to feel validated or have someone to talk to all the time. It's just not. It's good to feel part of something. Yeah. Everybody, like we were saying earlier, everyone talking about on your page at the moment. The big subject the last couple of days has been our venue that died 20 years ago.
Yes.
The brewery, the Alton Broad Brewery, which was an old brewery that then got turned into a awesome music venue, sawdust on the floor, homemade beers at a bar or whatever it is, local brews. And they had music days every bank holiday, and every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon there was a band on. That's where you went. Everybody you knew who was into that kind of music went to as well. So there's a lot of nostalgia for that. And I think, you came back and almost like started this nostalgia. We need a music scene. We need everybody together, and everyone go, "Oh, I remember when there was one."
Yeah, like, who cares? Like, let's get it back now. Let's find somewhere now. Like, because I'm sure, like, there's enough pubs and places like even the Seagull. I've spoke to Karen before, and she said, "Yeah, I'll be up for doing more."
There's clearly enough musicians, enough people that want that. I mean, brewery's not coming back.
No,
we said that. We said it's not. However, we could
Go for it.
Go for it. You weren't there, man.
Move on.
You weren't there, man.
You're too young, dude.
You weren't there, man. But we can still have a really, really great, vibrant scene. And I've learnt from the people I've been talking to on these podcasts, and there's more, lined up, and but there is, and I don't know if it's small town. I love my town. I love the people in it. I love Lowestoft. That's why I wouldn't live here if I didn't. But there is a level of, and it might be true of any town, to be quite honest. There's a level of someone else needs to start an open mic. Someone else. It would be a good idea if we had an open mic. Well, mate, why don't you call the pub?
Approach the person.
And then
a lot of it, people will be, they're comparing it to something else. So it's not like this, so it's not going to be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
People aren't willing just to fail a couple of times to get somewhere.
This is it. No one wants to be part of something or start something, and no one turned up.
But I feel like if you don't fail, what are you going to learn out of it?
Exactly.
Mistakes make experience in it, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, how many albums have I put out that nobody's actually listened to?
How many bands have we been in, Sam?
How many gigs?
How many gigs have you made where your mum and dad are there?
Exactly.
Joined band, got to the gigging stage, and then split up and not done any gigs.
It happens too often.
It happens all the time.
It really does. So, I think some. I know that there's playing in the pipeline. Myself and Danny have got something on the back burner, and as soon as we've got a date, this is it. I don't want to be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm just going to go. Here's the date.
Yeah.
Turn up.
Yeah.
Or don't. I'll be in there having a beer. Out of the house for the evening anyway. So
exactly.
fuck it.
Yeah.
But that's just what it takes, doesn't it? Doers. And what I am massively encouraged by that group is that you're doing, and hopefully that it will inspire the other, any other members to do something. I mean, Mr. Darren Stegler, I'm trying to get him on here as well, but just negotiating a date, was offered a PA very generously. So there's people willing to put their time into it, and their goods and stuff like that. So why not?
Well, that was the reason behind the group, really. It's just because obviously that's not really like it's more of a hub. I want to use it as like the music scene hub. So if anyone's got anything going on, put it in there. Obviously, a lot of people have been putting like introductions and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think that'll calm down. That'll calm down. Yeah.
Like say if someone has got a venue for an open mic, put it in, and if something comes of it, great. If it doesn't, whatever, carry on, keep going. Do you know what I mean? Because without making mistakes and failing a couple of times, nothing's going to happen. Well, I think people are too scared of failing.
But I was talking about this. I mean, I think it was the second episode we did. I was talking to my mate Tony Graham, who runs the open mic over in Galston, and he was saying, just pick a pub. I mean, Tony's run open mics for 40, 50 years. And sometime I've been to his, he has on, I think it's second or third Thursday of the month over in Galston. And I've been, and sometimes there's just me and him and my mate Paul. And then other times it's absolutely rams.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, he says, just pick a pub.
Yeah.
Sweet talk the landlord. They're not going to say no.
No. Especially if it's a night they've got nothing on. What's harm? They're open, aren't they? At the end of the day.
Absolutely. So, and we're not talking about you don't necessarily have to have drums and bass and all the other crap and organise a band and all the rest of it. But without open mics, great grassroots and great place for musicians to hang out. Who knows? Another brewery might pop up, or even the atmosphere of what the brewery was might pop up. You get a venue known for music, you keep going there. Like the Triangle, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go down to Triangle on Friday night, you're going to see a band.
You're going to see a band all the time, every week. Yeah.
Dutchman's that's my local.
Hell yeah.
You often see bands in there Friday, Saturday night, every week.
Yeah. We know these places for it, and we're glad of it. So, mate, we'll stir something up, I tell you.
I hope so, anyway. I just hope it goes, but I don't, because at the moment, like I said to you before the podcast, I get a lot of messages like, have you done anything yet? It's like, well, I've made the group for a start.
Which is more than you've done.
I just feel like, I hope it doesn't get to a point, like I was saying to you on Messenger the other day, I hope it doesn't get to a point when people are looking at me going, well, he's not done anything since. Do you know what I mean? It's not just me. Like, you do have your own devices. I don't run lower stuff, guys.
I mean, I was thinking.
As much as I think I do sometimes. Sure. After a few beers,
Someone's got to,
you know what I mean? Someone's got to walk around the high street giving it big, and they in their Parker giving it Liam Gallagher and that. But God,
Why not? Why not, indeed? Well, look, guys, thank you ever so much for both coming over and chatting to me today.
very much. Thank you for having
my
us,
total pleasure and sharing that lovely knowledge. And yeah, man. So, when are you guys back in the studio? Do you have any plans to record anything next?
said next week.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah,
Next week. What, you got another single coming on?
Yeah, I mean, I've got loads of songs. Really, I've got to pick one
Coming out
between
the
now
arse
and
at the minute,
Monday.
So this is just a continuation.
Continuation,
Just
yeah.
going on
Finish
and on
one
like that.
on
Yeah.
Finish one on to the next. Yeah.
Well, we look forward to it, mate.
Yeah,
Keep
man.
your eyes out. I'm going to put some links to your stuff in the
Thank you very
Nice
much.
in the
one, thank
comments
you.
anyway. But
Appreciate
yeah,
that.
until then, thanks ever so much for coming on, and hope to see you
Anytime.
again soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.